Hello, everybody. Andy Goldberg here. Welcome back to the Founders Chair podcast. I am delighted to have on the show today Andy Ridgway from Everybody Counts. Andy, welcome to the Founders Chair podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for doing this. I'm really excited to hear your story, Andy. But first, I would just want to find out a little bit about you personally, if you don't mind. Where you're from, where you live, hobbies, family, anything like that.
Yeah, like families back home in Scotland in Lawrencekirk, Fettercare and Lawrencekirk. I'm a footballer. I spent a lot of time boxing growing up and stuff. From Manchester originally, but moved around quite a bit. Stoke, Sheffield. Lived around the place. And the last 20 years, family's been in Scotland. So when I go back home, it is to Scotland. Currently in Vietnam. I spent the last year living in Phnom Penh in Cambodia, and right now living in Saigon in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam.
Wow. So, what are you doing there? I mean, I can't just move on to the next question without just asking, like, what are you doing in Saigon?
We set up we work B2B, so we've got good B2B partnerships in Thailand. We've now got we got $500,000 deal signed in Thailand. It's a multi-year deal. It's not as fantastic, but it's still $100,000 a year. The same contract across South Africa, the same contract across Cambodia, and we're just working like that. So we've got partnerships already across the UK, just finalizing one in Ireland. We sell direct into the States, and in Cambodia, in Vietnam. After we got the Cambodian contract sorted, it's like a 5 or 6 hour drive south to Saigon, and it's a massive market, 110 million people, a big ed tech spend per head of capita, one of the biggest in Southeast Asia, and it's a different model here. It's a bit more of a B2C model, but there's still some potential big B2B partnerships. So we're already discussing quite interesting discussions with like Vietnamese Education Publishing House, the biggest state-owned publishers in the country, and DDP Education. So two of the big seven, if you like, we're discussing with them B2B partnerships with them.
Right. Okay. So we're going to get into, I want to find out more about what you're doing with the company in a minute, but I'm just curious to know, like, do you move over there? Like, do you live there, or are you living out of a hotel room? Do you learn the
No,
language?
I rented a place. I rented an apartment, Q3 on the canal. Beautiful. Probably half what it would cost me back home, like to live and rent an apartment. And for founders, I'd highly recommend it. Right now in Vietnam, we can stay as a British passport, we can stay 45 days, and then we have to go back out and come back in the same day even. So literally, I went for a holiday to Laos in Vientiane a few weeks ago. Come back in. We're doing a project in Malta with Malta Enterprise. So I was in Malta a couple of months, back again to Vietnam. So I based myself here, travel extensively. I have to go out and back in 45 days. No visa issues at all. They welcome you doing that. They're very open about it, the Vietnamese. So it's a
Quite an
fantastic.
annoying administrative loophole, isn't it? To
Yeah, definitely so. And then they warmly welcome it, honestly. So
All right. Well, I guess they're just ticking a box, right? So tell us your story of how the business came about, Andy. So, at what point did you feel you had the confidence to that you could run your own business, and what inspired you to go into business for yourself?
I was what the idea came when I was head of school in Kuala Lumpur. I was head of an international school in KL in the center near the Twin Towers, a beautiful school. And I would go typically to schools that were struggling, and I would turn them around through business development networking and stuff, working with the embassies and things like that. And I got approached by the Mahathir, the president of the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Mahathir, his right hand man, was at my school. His daughter was at my school, and he said to me, "I'd like you to meet somebody and have a coffee and stuff." So I sat down with the Minister of Education, Dr. Masley. This is back in probably like 2018, and he's like, "Look, I want your advice on how things we can turn things around to the country like you've turned things around at the school." So we discussed math mastery. I then introduced him to five big players in the marketplace, and they were all ludicrously expensive. And I decided, okay, there's a business model here whereby if I could use EdTech, I can bring down the price point to a more accessible price point for the masses, and we could look at working with governments and B2B partnerships instead of looking at the top 1% of UK American curriculum, like only the exclusive market. We could actually look at selling to the masses. We then did it modular format to be able to tailor to the marketplace. Already we're aligning with Missouri state standards, Cambodia government, Thai government, etc., etc. And we've been able to curriculum map very rapidly. I set the company up in 2021, April 21 in COVID. I had the time to do it while I was founding principal in Myanmar. online because of the coup and the COVID and everything else that's going on. I approached Judy Hornigold, the co-founder, who was a world-class Math Mastery author, and said to Judy, "Look, I've got an idea. I think we should set the company between us, and you write the content, I'll do the business side, and so you keep on with the content, lead all the teacher development side, and I'll do the business." We then raised £100,000 to get ourselves up and running. I then became head of school in Udine in Italy, and was living in Italy for a couple of years. And then while I was there, I also got taken by RGU University, and we were on the accelerator from RGU. We didn't win anything, but they're very supportive of us, to be fair. But we didn't win anything on the awards then. We then got onto Converge because Converge, all the university in Scotland, you probably know Converge Challenge and stuff. We did the Create Change section, and then we got runner up and won £10,000 grant funding from Converge. And just before that, I had the confidence to think like, okay, I think we're onto something. And yeah, well, we party ways with the school, and in the summer of that year, then in November we got some grant funding, and we got our first sort of start to get first deals and first interest and raise some money, and then since then we've raised about 1.2 million. We've won Innovate UK. We've done all right, so yeah, signed $4 million of contracts, so it's all
Yeah.
right.
So where do you stand at the moment? What's your I mean, what tell me about the main offering that you have and the marketplace
So
for.
we're selling into core content and mathematics. The supplementary material is highly competitive. Like stuff like Sumdog, who's a very good, Scottish company. They're selling in the supplementary space. Like Timestone Rockstars are very good. Bruno Reddy, I've met a couple of times, and like very good companies, but selling to that supplementary space. What we're doing is selling core content mathematics. We're upskilling the teacher. We then built a platform with a phenomenal CTO, Robin Fairless, and his team. We're working with some great people in our tech team, and we built a platform for 5 to 11 years old children. Teacher support, lesson planning done for the teacher, homework set automatically, marked automatically, machine learning built into it all. Then we've got Gen AI, look at scanning the data analytics, looking at detecting neurodiversity in early age. So things like dyslexia, dyscalculia, we're picking up key learnings from how the child learns. We're
Mm.
looking at learning styles and then hyper personalizing the learning style and then asking the questions through Gen AI on the back of that. So it's kind of an ML Gen AI mix. Aside from just literally supercharging the teacher and doing the mundane admin task of the teacher, and we can do this at a very, very low price point. And I think that was the gap to say we can do this on mass volume at very, very cheap price point, high quality education, all done by Judy and a small team of authors. It was high quality content.
Wow. Okay, brilliant. So that's quite unique then. Like it really you've got a
Yeah.
fairly niche offering.
Yeah, you'd say neat. You're right. Niche offering. The fact that we're targeting the 99% of the rest of the world that can't afford your big players. And the biggest shock to me, Andy, has been the fact that we've got a contract with YPO across United Kingdom. We've already sold into Missouri state level, the district level. So we got our first traction in the States. And with different price points because we've got a subscription model, we can charge X amount in Cambodia,
Mm.
Y in Thailand, and Z in America, which is slightly higher, don't get me wrong, but it helps fund the rest of the global project.
So tell me a little bit about on your entrepreneurial journey. What would you say has been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Uh, I think I feel the best advice I could say is like I think we scaled rapidly. We always banked on being successful on every single thing. I took a chance on myself. So with the people I employed, with the go-to-market strategy, the things we're doing, I always backed to myself making it. We lent money, we did, we begged, skimped and straved, saved, and
Yeah.
I think I always backed myself to make it. Now we got venture backing from Fuel Ventures, which has been amazing and absolute game changer for us. The fact we've raised some capital from London. The biggest learning has been the resilience, just literally to keep going, Andy. I think that's not to be undervalued. I think, the determination and just up here, I'd say, like just a single-minded determination to keep going against all the odds, even when it looks dour and when it looks like you can't make it, like we did. We won Innovate UK at the right time. We weren't sure we did, and we won £500,000 project with Innovate. Then we won another grant funding, then we got our first contracts, then we got a bit of good news on something else. You just kind of just kept going literally, and
Yeah.
that's been the big learning.
You know, I mean, that can open up a different conversation that we may not have today, but I hear this one a lot, like persistence, keep going, keep believing in yourself. But I guess that begs the question then, well, what if you're doing it wrong? Like, what if you
Yeah.
actually don't know what you're doing and you're persisting? Like, you're never going to win, right? So at some point you need to know, well, do we need to go back to the drawing board?
Yeah, yeah, and very true. The thing is, for what we do, okay, so making math mastery accessible for every child globally is a good mission. We're a mission-led company. I believe wholeheartedly in what we're doing, which I think gave me that persistence to keep going. You know, in dark times when it was hard, I kept going because I believed in what we're doing. I believed in the team we've built around me. All I did was have a very good idea, and then after that, I built a phenomenal team around me. You know, like so, I think we've made the right decisions. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I think like, okay, should we go B2C? Should we do something different? You know, like and I think the route to market, yeah, we could question things, you know, maybe there's things we've done wrong, but this I'm all still learning right now, don't get me wrong, you know, like, but by the same token, fundamentally what we're doing is a very good cause with passion behind it, and that gives the belief.
So it's persistence and resilience, but you've got a clear mission that you're passionate
Yeah.
about, that you're committed to, you believe in, and this is you're going down the right path, right?
Yeah, I see the effect. I see next week I'm teacher training in a Cambodian state system. It's exciting, you know, and I see the look on teachers' faces, teaching about math mastery and how we problem solve and how we create problems for children in a good way. Let's start with a math lesson with a problem. Now,
Right.
and as well that we do it in Khmer language. We're one of the companies who bother to translate. So we have all our content in Khmer, in Thai, in Arabic, we're putting into Spanish. So again, that multilingualism and that support with the teacher training in home language even in international schools, I've been blown away by the fact that they want in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh, we're working out in the district in the rural areas as well. But right now, the fact that the international schools want their in Khmer for their local teachers, they want it in English for their expat teachers. The fact we offer that dual language is very attractive. You'd be surprised.
Amazing. What would you say has been your biggest challenge as a business owner through the years, and how did you overcome
Um,
it?
I think we've had to little bit like wherever we went, we had a lot of support from Department of Business and Trade UK government. Suppose as a former head to being on the UK trade missions and stuff like that. The fact when I sit down with the minister, I talk the talk and walk the walk as someone with an MEd in education, math mastery, etc. That gives me good credibility. I think the risk of scaling too fast, you know, already right now,
Mm.
investors ask this, wow, you guys are in Thailand, South Africa, Cambodia, US, UK, like you're spread really thinly, and it's true. And strategically, we're focused on the US, Canada, North America, and India from a volume play. You know, the initial traction in Southeast Asia because it is kind of the hotbed of mathematics as well out here. You know, like there's I think, but we do risk scaling too rapidly. So that's been in an exciting way as well to be like on that sort of thing. Secondly, would be scaling the team fast as well. I think that I initially employed a VP of sales far too early. That wasn't his fault or my fault. It was just a mistake we made. You know, like I think that I've led the sales, and I think we are very much founder led still. We need to take this off my shoulders. Don't get me wrong. And now I've got a new salesperson. It might work better. But by the same token, I think we employed a VP of sales a year too early, realistically.
Mm.
You know.
So what's next then? What's next for you and your business? What do the next 1 to 3 years look like? Is it going to be more scalable growth? Is it stabilize? Like you sound like you're really on the move here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be explosive. It's getting very exciting. The contracts we're signing, the we're discussing now. We're just finalizing a group in India. They got like 430 odd thousand early years and primary school kids. You know, we're looking at a few dollars a kid, but when you times that by 3 years by 430,000, it's a good number, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that we're looking at some exciting projects. The States is very much on the horizon, much more work in the States. We've had great support from IEI, the Institute of Educational Innovators. We've just been approached by RTM. We're working with the RDI Canada in Canada and stuff. And I think we've been involved with the right people at the right times as far as we maybe went to America a little bit early, but on the back of that, we were already in Missouri, you know, like so I can't fault that, you know, but it does take money and to go into America takes a lot of money. And I think we had to fundraise to actually go and enter the American market. So I think explosive growth, managing a team as we scale is fundamental. Um, and then choosing geographically where we go. We decentralize the sales team, looking at where we're going to go as next steps. India is very exciting. The US, North America is very exciting. Latin America, because we have it in Spanish, opens a big market. But it's just like, wow, the world is the world. We're looking at a world market.
Yeah. So presumably you manage your team remotely. Everybody works
Yeah,
remotely.
everybody. My sales lead is in the CRO, you call her, is in somewhere in Spain. I've not been visited yet. We know each other from a trade mission, a UK trade mission. My tech team is in the UK. Marketing lady in Scotland. So yeah, the rest of my team is in Malta. We've got great support from Malta Enterprise and Supercharger Ventures. We got really well funded by those guys, and a lot of government support from Malta to set up a subsidiary in Malta. And we're looking at having a dev team in Malta. So yeah, good.
Wow. So I mean that's amazing, but that must come with its own challenges as well. Like I mean, how often do you actually meet up with your own team?
Yeah, in Malta recently, some of the team in the UK, I head over there and I've enjoy a bacon sandwich and a sausage sandwich in the morning and stuff, like so. I think that I would say we have never yet met as a complete team. Never. I met everybody, I know, but not the complete team in a complete team. I think the leadership team now will meet again shortly, like to do a project. We've done one project in London so far. We're now to do another in Malta together. And then it'd be nice to get the team together as well at some point, everybody in the team.
Any other any other you kind of shared your learnings as from your entrepreneurial journey over the years. Any other advice you would give to business owners who are just starting out or who are thinking about starting out and going out on their own? What would you say to them?
I think you have to be careful on how much you sell at the beginning. I think, like we had to raise £100,000. We raised on 500,000 initially. We then raised on 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, so it was quite rapid growth. You don't want to raise it too fast because then it gets harder to raise money and stuff. So I think the growth that comes with its own challenges. We did just about right on the sort of the valuation point. Um, I think as well, getting the right support, people like RGU, getting on the right accelerator stuff, like getting the right people behind you, helping you, because that's all free. You typically might come with a bit of grant support. We got £5,000 from Opportunity North East Scotland, which helped us. It just gave a little bit of impetus. The money we got from Converge, the support on Converge was next level. That's been really, really good. And then get some grant funding, anything you can get non-dilutive. The difficulty is as well in the grant funding, we got 500,000 project with Innovate UK. We won the Smart Grant, but at the same token, that needs cash flowing. It's not free money. You've actually got to put the cash in to get the cash out. And, it could take 100 grand to get 500,000 just process 100 grand through, but you got to get 100 grand in some from somewhere, so.
Yeah, so you're not just going around with a beggar bowl, right? Like you're putting in the work and you're putting in the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time and the effort to grow with the funding and get the investment.
Yeah, and we're lucky. Like Jude and myself still own, 70% of the company or something. So we're in quite a nice position. But we were lucky. We managed to raise the value and get some money in, because we had the contracts and we got the growth we did. We end up, being okay. But I think that when we get to our level now, people do look like how much the founders still own. That's it. That's a very important point as well. Don't sell too much too early. But you have to kind of give value to the people as well, the investors, to see that, not easy.
Well, Andy, I mean, it's been amazing hearing your story. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. But we've come to the end of our time, so I just want to say thank you so much for telling us your story. Like this one really stands out. Like it's not your typical journey, and it's not your typical company, and you're not a typical business owner.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it's been really, really interesting. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you.
And thanks to all of our listeners always for tuning in. Really appreciate it. More to come on our YouTube channel and on LinkedIn. But once again, just want to say thanks again to Andy Ridgway from Everybody Counts. Andy, thanks again.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you. Thank you, Andy.